You are listening to CrossTalk, a safe place to discuss addiction, recovery, harm reduction, and everything in between. Support for this podcast comes from the Kentucky Opioid Response Effort and Advocates of Recovery. Content and production by the team at Turning Point Recovery Community Center. Now, buckle up and get ready for the show.
Welcome everyone to CrossTalk Recovery, the recovery podcast that supports all forms of recovery. I'm Matt Lewis, and I'm here with
Brandon Fitch,
Thelma Hunter.
Welcome you all. This is going to be fun. Thelma is an angel. You know, Max was on here. You remember when Max was on here with us, Brandon? It was early on, and I made the joke that Max was the angel of Centerpoint. Right? That was an inside joke because Thelma was actually the angel of Centerpoint. When I came through there, she was the director and ran that program. And, you know, it was different when she was there than it is now because she had a heart and compassionate, you know, where Max, who has compassion, where am I going with this? The fact that...
on your way to an edit is where I think you're going to go with this.
No, the fact is... Thelma is not one of us. Max is. So he can call us on our stuff and when we're trying to be manipulative and stuff like that. And Thelma, I think, may have fallen prey to some of that, but it was because she has so much compassion. And now you've moved on from there, and
I really wish you had wrote some of this stuff down ahead of time.
I'm just winging it. Let's see what this is going to be fun for you because that's what you like. To watch me fail.
Squirm, not fail, squirm.
You're not
and
failing.
grow.
You're doing great.
I'm not editing any of this out.
Maybe can I? I think what you're trying to say.
See, I knew you'd take over at some point already.
I'm just trying to save you. I'm just throwing you a life vest or a life preserver or whatever you're willing to accept at this point in time. No, I think that they have two different styles, 100%, two different styles, absolutely. And they both function in a great way to help people. And
I wasn't meaning to be negative towards.
No, I don't think you were. I don't think you were. It just came out that way.
I knew what you meant.
Oh, well, see?
But the rest of the people watching and listening now understand that your intentions were great. Their intentions are absolutely pure and wonderful, and they both have amazing styles.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah. Exactly. And I miss Centerpoint greatly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure they miss you. And, you know, I didn't talk to you very much when I was in there, you know. But I know that you helped a lot of people that I was in there with at the time. And I've seen you go on and move up in positions and roles and been working under you and around you for a while now. And I've grown to really respect you and admire you and all that I see that you do. So it's great to have you finally on the podcast because we mention you often on here, being that this is under the Four Rivers umbrella. So why don't you just tell a little people about your pathway into working for Four Rivers Centerpoint, what it got you to have the heart for that, and ultimately to where you are today.
Okay, well, I think where I got the heart for that is my dad was an alcoholic. What you call back then a functional alcoholic that still went to work every day, but when he'd come home, you know, drink till he passed out and went to bed. That gave me the compassion. And if I would have gotten the genetics from him, I would probably be in one of these facilities, not for lack of trying, you know, but I've always enjoyed working with people with substance abuse issues. I've enjoyed working with people with mental health issues as well. I've been with Four Rivers for 25 years. I have been in the residential treatment part of Four Rivers. I worked at the Fuller Center for about 5 years. And then I came to Centerpoint, and I was there for 11 years. Loved every minute of it. It was a great program. It still is a great program. I completely believe in that. And then I became division director, and now I am vice president of clinical services. And each step up, I get a little bit farther away from direct service with people, and that's one of the kind of double-edged swords because I really enjoy working with people, and especially, the people in residential were wonderful, and you got to know them and know them as people, and you would see someone come in who had given up all hope, was just hopeless, and they felt horrible about themselves, and they wouldn't even look you in the eye. And then 6 months later, you get the opportunity to see this person who's completely changed, and they have this glow about them, and they're happy again, and things are happening for them in their life again. They've got their loved ones back, or they're on the path to that, and they believe in themselves again, and that was just priceless for me. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to watch. It's one of my favorite things about working with people is seeing the positive things that happen.
No, you've, I guess, to reflect back on it, that was in 2000. Well, building a program is something that you've been known for, building a program like Centerpoint. And that was, and I knew you before Centerpoint, through social associations, through neighbors, through Gretchen, too. And I met you before that, but I also ran into them again when I entered into Fuller Center myself. And that's when Centerpoint was starting up.
Right. That's when I was just leaving Fuller Center. I remember I was moving out of the office when you were down there.
Yeah. And, so I guess my question is I've got several questions, but you started off in 2011 over at Centerpoint when that opened, or 2010?
2010, I believe. Gosh, it's been a long time. It was just a few months after they had opened the doors.
So, first off, how many people do you think you've seen come through the doors in your tenure? Literally, almost 10 years there. Thousands of people. And what was it like opening up the first large men's facility in our region?
Well, a lot of people didn't think it would be successful because I was a woman. Even the director of Recovery Kentucky had his doubts. Yeah. And he told me so.
Wow.
But I went on to prove him wrong.
Yeah, and I think that's what Matt was trying to allude to a minute ago was the fact that, having... Because when you come into these facilities, when you come out of jail, when you come out of active addiction, we've as men, you are wrapped up with this kind of a toxic masculinity, this having to be tough and resilient, even in the most unresilient areas, right? And having to have that wall and that guard up. And that's why I think we all looked at her and looked at you as, this angel, this person, because it was somebody we could lower our guard with. It was somebody who, we could talk to and have a sense of really, healing compassion whenever we speak, to you in that process. So I think that was just a nice, warm place to be.
Yeah. And that was my goal for Centerpoint. I wanted it to be a home environment. I didn't want it to be some sterile center that, people just were in because they had to be. I wanted it to be a place where they actually wanted to be and they were proud of, and they felt that camaraderie, that fellowship with everyone that came in. And I think that's something that we did accomplish. We were a family there.
So, I'm sure you've seen other models throughout the nation that have kind of got that military-style rehabilitation center versus what you guys had. What do you think the difference is?
I think the difference is in looking at other issues besides substance abuse. I think mental health and trauma are two of the biggest factors for people that come into those centers that's been unaddressed all these years. They've been self-medicating through substances. And when you finally can treat both of those, a wonderful thing happens. And that person gets past those things and moves on with their life and can lead a rich and full life without substances.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. It's so true. Yeah,
you guys are definitely role models for that.
She had to breathe heavy on that.
Yeah.
You guys are
models.
No, it's because I've lost my train of thought. I've had so many meetings today.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I doing?
But I think about what you're talking about. When I came in there, I'd never been to any treatment facility before Centerpoint, but I'd been to jail a whole lot. So like I was all ready for it to be like jail. Like that was just what I was used to. Yeah. I wasn't used to, like we've talked about so many times on here, I wasn't used to guys coming up to me telling me they love me and giving me hugs. And
we'll be right back.
Hey y'all, did you know it's illegal to own just one guinea pig in Switzerland because they get lonely? Here at Turning Point, we don't want you to ever be lonely either. That's why we're open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Always feel free to come hang with our friendly staff, and don't forget your guinea pig. We're located at 415 Broadway Street, downtown Paducah.
Hello everybody. You want to know something? My biggest issue with meetings is despite their name, they are never about me. Here at Turning Point, all of our meetings are for you and about you. We have meetings at least 3 times a day, 7 days a week. We are located at 415 Broadway, Paducah, Kentucky. Call 270-444-3621 for more information.
You know, I can't speak for other treatment facilities because I've never been there, but I can't imagine there being that much of a camaraderie and a brotherhood other places, is like, because it really was a family. And the fact that it was COVID lockdown when I was there, we had no choice but to like each other or stay away from each other, you know, as much as we could in treatment. And so, yeah, it was, it was life-changing for me to just see that there were other people there working on themselves, and the people that, like, all the people that worked under you had the same heart for what your vision was too, you know, because you made it fun. You made it feel like people actually cared, and there was a high success rate of the guys that I went through with at that time. A lot of them still sober, still doing good. So
a lot of them work at Four Rivers now.
Yeah,
that's
true.
Hey, that's a testament to Four Rivers giving people second chances, because you know. As you know, you said Max was on this. Max always said, you know, sometimes when you become ungrateful for your job, you have to remember that you're lucky they let you in the parking lot with our records. You know, like with what we've got in our history. That's not that they wouldn't let us in the parking lot, but most places would look at us and say, no, you know, you're not allowed here. So you've had a lot of. I mean, being in your position, seeing all the people that you worked with, you know, it's got to be trying, because you see so many successes, but you also see a lot of, I wouldn't say failures, but, you know, situations where people go back out and return to use. You know, how do you keep moving forward in those situations, you know, whenever you're seeing that on a daily basis?
It's very hard.
Yeah.
At least if they return to use, they have a chance, and come back, they have a chance at life. A lot of people return to use, and we have a whole back wall of pictures of people that didn't make it back. And, you know, every time that happened, it just broke my heart, because I know everybody on that wall. Yeah. You know, and I had a relationship with them while they were at Centerpoint, and got really close with some of them. And it just broke my heart every time it happened. But you focus on how many people you have helped, how many people you can still help, how you never give up hope for someone. And you know, I get to see the success every day when I work with you guys, you know, and that makes my day. My goal is to have as many guys from Centerpoint work at Four Rivers as possible, because I know that those are going to be some of our best employees. Loyal, dedicated,
you know, and I think that goes to say that we tend to live our lives, you know, the society tells us, the courts tell us, you know, you owe a debt to society, you know, and I think we continue to live our lives on a daily basis like we've never paid that debt off, you know, because we've taken so much that they didn't catch us for, you know. Not on the record, but, you know, we continue to live that way, and just in debt to the grace that people like you have given us, you know, for a second chance. So, yeah, thank you.
I believe in second chances. I believe in third chances. I believe in fourth chances. Just come back and take that chance. Don't die out there.
Yeah, never give up. Keep
Never
trying.
give up.
That's what it's all about, and that's what we tell people all the time. That's what I love about the rooms in recovery is that, you know, people, there is that shame and that guilt that sets in when you've fallen and slipped, or, you know, repeating this or having to come back to treatment again. But anyone I've ever seen come back through those doors, to the rooms or through a treatment facility, there's nothing but open arms, welcoming them, glad to see them back, understanding of what they've been through and what they, you know. So, and that's what makes people be able to keep coming back, you know, is to know that those arms are going to be there. Yeah, the acceptance is going to be there for them.
Yeah, there's no judgment.
So, another reason we had you on today is because you've decided to do this Lily House,
Yes.
right?
Lily's?
What?
Lily's house?
Lily's house.
Lily's House, right.
Here, do you want a brochure?
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what gave you the idea for this, why you're so passionate about it, and what it's going to look like.
Okay. Lily's house is going to be a 6-bed sober living house for pregnant and or parenting women. There is nothing like it on this end of the state. The closest one is in Louisville, and we just saw a need there for providing this service. I know that there are a lot of sober living homes in this area, mostly for men. There are some for women, but they don't take women with children. So we wanted to provide that. We wanted to be able to help a mother have a healthy baby, to be able to help her get those services she needs to have a healthy baby, and get parenting skills to deal with that child after it's born, you know, coping skills to learn how to do that and to stay sober. And that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of lack of services for women in recovery, or women that need recovery in our area, and in the state and in the nation in general, because I mean, women are marginalized so much as it is. You know, when it comes to active addiction, substance use disorder, they deal with different types of stresses. And lo and behold, they have less opportunity to go to treatment because they've got kids to take care of in many cases, and they, you know, they can't take their kids with them. If they do abandon their children in some form or fashion, they're going to go to Child Protective Services, and then they could lose custody. So this is pretty awesome.
And there's such a stigma around a pregnant mother abusing drugs. You know, they have nowhere to go. They don't have that family support that they need. And hopefully Lily's house will be that support they need. We'll have a case manager, peer supports who have been there, done that can help them through the day-to-day stuff. I think that everyone who is going to have a successful recovery program has got to have that support system.
Absolutely.
One of the things that we deal with a lot with women in recovery or getting into recovery is, you know, you're starting off with nothing, and you have this human being or potential human being inside of you that you have to take care of, but then they have to get a job to get a place, and then they have to have transportation to get to the job, but they also have to consider the fact that they have, you know, the need for childcare too. So are you opening up a child care inside your home in addition to all this?
No. I have a dog, and that's way more than I can handle most days. So we can help pay for child care if they need that. With this grant that we got, we have some money written into it for things like personal needs for the person if they need business clothing for an interview, if they need child care to get to their appointments and be able to do their mental health treatment or go to work or whatever the case may be. We want to try and provide as much as we can to make them successful.
Yeah, there's going to be a vehicle to transport.
There's going to be a vehicle to transport. We can take them to their doctor's appointments. We can take them to job interviews, to the grocery store if they need something.
Yeah.
It's just going to be full wraparound services for these women.
And we've seen the place too. I mean, we've seen the place in the beginning. Have you been over there yet?
I haven't been inside, but I've seen pictures. And what I think is really cool about it is that I like a couple of the guys that I sponsor at Centerpoint. You've had guys from Centerpoint working on it, putting it together. So it's like a full circle kind of thing.
Like no, I know what you mean. When we were over there working, and some of the Centerpoint guys were over there, they were giving us some helpful hints on what to do with babies and how they handled their kids and what worked for their kids and what didn't. And they were great. I mean, they were all so excited to be doing this, and it's great. I mean, everyone is really excited about this project.
And the place is beautiful. Like, I mean, they've taken a home and redecorated, repainted, created a whole new atmosphere in there. I mean, brand new furniture, new beds. I've heard Thelma talking about these different types of beds they have to create so the mother doesn't roll over on the baby, and things that her and I probably had never even heard of.
That was a fun part for me when we had the meeting that we held over with the girls that we work with that are all mothers, and you coming for ideas, not being a mother, and like them coming with all these things that I wasn't going to think of. I mean, I'm a father, but Brandon wasn't going to think of, and you hadn't thought of, and
they helped me so much. I got a whole list of stuff I hadn't even thought of, and I think it's really ironic that a woman who's never had children is heading up this project.
Ironic and scary, I'm sure.
Scary, yeah.
So I guess that's another question too. You've spent the last 10 or 11 years basically mothering adult men, children, and you've handled that extremely well. How do you feel that transition? I know you're not going to be there daily and handling it that way, but how do you feel that's going to be the same or different?
Well, it will be the same because people are people.
Yeah.
It will be a little bit different because the needs of mothers are going to be a little bit different. But it's still people who are in recovery and who want to lead a sober living life. And I can help people with that.
Yeah. It's a good answer.
Yeah.
I would be scared to death.
I'm scared to death
because I don't understand the female species as much as some people do, and I think that's a different complexity. You've got different traumas involved. You've got, like you said, different needs as well. Like that sounds scary.
Yeah. I'm not saying I'm not scared. I'm just saying I'm willing to just jump in and do whatever's needed.
Well, I mean, running a sober living house in general is scary from what I hear, and then let alone kids running around.
Yeah, little babies, tiny babies.
Like they come in there pregnant, but they can also bring if they have other kids with them.
As long as they're under 2.
Under 2, okay.
We'll be right back.
Did you know that recovery from substance use disorder and mental health go hand in hand? That is why the caring and compassionate mental health professionals at Four Rivers Behavioral Health in Paducah are here to help you find your balance. They are proud of you for making the changes necessary to live a healthier life and would love to see you reach your full potential. Give them a call at 270-442-7121 or stop by the downtown location at 425 Broadway in Paducah, Kentucky.
As a woman in recovery, I know how important having a fellowship of women has been for me. Come join us at the Women of Worth All Recovery Support Group here at Turning Point, 415 Broadway, Paducah, Kentucky, every Friday night at 6 p.m., where we discuss our personal experiences in recovery. Hope to see you there.
Yeah.
And then the woman can live there after she's given birth up to a year.
So
right.
what would the process be? Like, just say if somebody's listening or watching this and they're like, I am a person that would fit the criteria, or I know a person that would fit the criteria of being a potential resident at Lily's house. What would that look like? What would they have to do?
They would call Four Rivers Behavioral Health at 270-442-7121, and they could either ask to speak to me, Thelma Hunter, at extension 1244, or they could ask to speak to Angie Rogers, the site administrator in our Center for Addiction Services. and we would do a pre-screen over the phone.
Oh, nice. So they would just simply have to come in for an assessment eventually?
They would come in for an assessment once they had been admitted into the home.
Okay.
We would only have to do a pre-screen and a short intake to get someone into the home.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds pretty simple then.
Mm-hmm.
Any kind of prerequisites that they need to consider as well?
They need to be 30 days clean.
Mm-hmm.
So if they have come through, say, the Fuller Center and that 28-day program, we would take them. If they have come through an IOP program, we would take them. If they've been in outpatient treatment and they've been clean for 30 days, we would look at that as well. We would not take anyone with kids over 2. They don't have to be pregnant. They can just be parenting if they have a young child. Those are the main criteria.
Awesome. So you got a beautiful place set up, a safe environment. There's cameras. There's a structured set of rules that provide a safe environment from all the potential outside men that's out there. Matt. And it sounds like a wonderful place to get back on your feet in a safe, structured, controlled environment with supportive individuals around.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want to improve birth outcomes for moms. There is so many cases of neonatal abstinence syndrome, or NAS. We just want healthy babies, healthy moms, happy kids, all live in a sober life.
So when the grant was being written, now I know this is funding from the state of Kentucky, which is through the KYASAP, which is Kentucky Agency for Substance Abuse Policy, and that's out of the Office of Drug Control Policy.
Yes.
When you were writing the grant for this, that was a fun process, right?
Yeah.
Grant process. Rewarding, but fun.
Very rewarding, yes.
So what was I guess the model based after? I think it's and I don't know the exact term, neonatal or how was that termed?
We're expanding services for pregnant and parenting women.
Okay, pretty simple. Okay. Yeah, I like putting people on the spot, especially when I don't know the answer either.
Yeah, it's like, is this Jeopardy?
Well, that's great. I mean, it's great that the state's doing this, I mean, we're doing the work, they're doing the work, and they're very supportive of helping people out,
Yes.
and that's a decent pot of money that can help a group of individuals. You think sometimes we get a pot of money that is designed to help as many people as we can help. And you wrote this grant to help 6 very specific people throughout a year to really embrace their recovery capital, to really embrace the home health purpose and community aspects of building their support and foundation. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and to try and reduce the percentages of babies born with neonatal abstinence syndrome.
That's the term I was looking for right there. Did we say it already?
NAS.
NAS?
Yeah,
NAS.
she had already mentioned it.
Okay.
What exactly does that term mean?
Addicted babies. Babies born that are addicted. When they are in the NICU, they shake all the time because they're withdrawing from substance, and we want to cut that out as much as possible.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of times, and we don't want to go too long, but a lot of times mothers who are pregnant will avoid any kind of support.
Yes, because they're afraid that social services will take the children.
Right.
Yeah. So this gives them an opportunity.
This gives them an opportunity to live in a safe environment and be supported and hopefully have all the resources that they need to have healthy, happy babies.
It's awesome. And needed so much. So there's only Louisville's the only other one nearby that you know is
That's the closest
doing it?
one we could find when we started writing the grant. And I think that's a big part of the reason that we were awarded the grant, because Western Kentucky has very limited resources.
Yeah.
And there's some Oxford houses, I believe, that allow it.
Yeah,
but they're not specifically.
Mommy and me houses. Yeah.
But they're not specifically designed just like this. This
Right.
is only.
This is specifically for pregnant and parenting women.
That's awesome. That's good.
Yeah, and I love to see that we're getting something that's needed and that's new to this area. And like, as I've only been in recovery a short few times, a couple 24 hours, but
You're You're becoming an old timer.
What is an old timer? We were talking about this the other day. Is it 5 years?
I don't think that there's. I think it just depends on
how you start talking,
the newcomer's opinion of you. You know, like
yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, but no, like us becoming a recovery-ready community recently,
Yes.
like all the things that are happening in
Very
this area.
exciting. The Matter Van.
The Matter Van, all the things that we're doing. Our Narcan distribution. So I love seeing it. Just something else to add to our area that's going to help people in recovery. Like, I went through high school here, and, before I moved to Louisville for 20 years, and I had no idea. I'm sure there wasn't back then this much, but to come back here and need all this stuff and it be here, like, right where I needed it, right at the right time is such a blessing, so.
Let's talk about how far you've come. I think we've
done that enough.
Well, I know, but anybody that's new watching and or listening.
No, you say there's only 20 people that watch. It's the same 20 people.
Well, we're going to remind them one more time. Do you remember that during COVID?
Mm-hmm. I sure do.
Thelma said, I'll help deliver some drinks and some games and some snacks to the rooms, because everybody at Center Point, all 100 people were quarantined, and there was Matt up in there yelling out the window.
I think the only time I remember Thelma coming up there, I had just shaved my head out of boredom. She's like, "Oh, you cut your hair." I was like, "Yeah, bored."
You were nice to her, though, weren't you?
Yeah. Listen, I wasn't mean to you, Brandon. I was upset at the situation.
Yeah, we were all upset at the situation.
Yeah.
There just wasn't a lot we could do about it.
I remember some of the guys were really mad that the staff got to go home. Like, this is BS because you get to go home. Like, well, what do you want us to do? Like, I've already did my stint there, and then some, some.
Yeah, but it all worked out.
Oh, yeah. All worked out for the good. Now we're role models.
We're role models.
You're role models.
With a pause.
And Turning Point in Four Rivers is leading the charge in recovery. We have so many services now that we never had before. Yeah. Look at the Matter Van that goes to all 9 counties we have and helps people who are dealing with all kinds of substance use issues.
And for the record, we wrote that grant while she was writing this grant for Lily's house,
I wrote the 2 grants at the same time.
Yeah, and then we found out on our Christmas party for Four Rivers the day of. Yeah, that was exciting. That was the first grant.
Very exciting. The first grant I'd ever written.
Yeah.
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 That's awesome.
First 2 grants I'd ever written.
And now they're one of them's literally rolling.
Yeah.
Like that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's probably tough to write those grants, especially like the first time to get all the wording right, your deliverables and all the things that that they're going to be looking for, and to do your first one and have it get.
Yeah, I was super excited about that, but I did realize halfway through when we were remodeling that I forgot to put anything in there for flooring for the house. So we had to scrape from some other parts of the grant and get permission to use that for flooring. But that was something I didn't even think about. So, the next grant I write, I'm going to think about, you might need flooring if you're going to do something like that.
So are you going to write another grant for another sober living house for women?
No.
Not yet?
Not yet. I did write a grant for a in-home pregnancy services.
Oh, good.
And we will be providing in-home services with a case manager and peer supports to pregnant women in the 9-county area. As soon as we get Lily's house going, we'll start on the next project.
It's awesome.
I'm always, we go to these events, and we have our own events here, and we go to these events in Frankfurt and different places. And, number one, to see how proud we are of what we're doing in the state, and even more so with what we're doing in Western Kentucky, because that's our stomping grounds, right? And we get to, like you said, lead the charge on these creative, new, and innovative ideas. And thankfully, we have a supportive company, Four Rivers, that allows us to do those things. A supportive state that funds us the opportunity, or gives us the opportunity with funding to do these things. Because without that, there would be so many people bouncing from couch to couch until they made it to jail and through the system without the opportunity. So.
Right.
Not to make anybody jealous who is listening from out of state, but Kentucky's got it going on.
Yeah, we're leading the pack.
We're leading the pack, and I think the governor just said we were number 4 in the nation. I think is that what he said?
7, I thought.
Somewhere around the top 10 in the nation in providing recovery supports for individuals with substance use disorder. Mm-hmm. That's impressive, and we were one of the top nations that were hit, or top states that were hit hardest in the nation due to the opioid epidemic. Mm-hmm. We were hit one of the hardest, and it just means that we're doing a good job. We've got so much more to do, but we're doing a good job, and it's a fight that's going to be going on for decades, for sure.
Yeah, we've got a good foundation to build on.
Yeah.
So, well, awesome. Thelma, thank you. I hope this wasn't too painful for
great.
you.
Anytime.
Okay, good. We'll have you back on regularly tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Well, every other podcast.
Whenever you need me.
All right. Well, thanks again, and watch our YouTube. Watch us on YouTube, or check out our audio versions on Apple, Google, Spotify, Podbean, Amazon Music, and as always, stay grateful.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction or in recovery and needs guidance, speak with Turning Point's team of peer support specialists by calling 270-444-3621. You are not alone, and we are proof that recovery is possible.